Welcome to Farm to Family Cooking Series. My name is Gil Rodriguez. I'm a chef instructor at Skagit Valley College. Welcome to Farm to Family Cooking. Today we're going to be making some easy vegetable fajitas. For this fajitas, we're going to use pasilla pepper, some white onion, a bell pepper of this beautiful yellow squash, some carrot, a tomato, a couple of limes, and some fresh oregano. The first thing that we're going to do is grab a bowl with a box grater, and we're going to grate our carrot. Our carrot's pretty hard, so we want to make sure that we cut it into a small enough piece so we can cook it properly. So using the larger side of the box grater will be the easiest. You don't even have to peel the carrot, just wash it really well and then just grate the carrot onto your bowl. All right, our next step will be to marinate our vegetables, and I have some pasilla peppers right here. We're going to put a little bit of that in there. And I have some white onion. We're going to break that apart. And I cut this all into slices about 1/4 inch thick. You can cut them a little bit bigger if you like them that way. Just make sure that they're all cut the same size so they can cook all at the same time. Okay, and I have some red bell pepper right here. And when we work with the squash, if you haven't seen any of my other videos, we always talk about not using the seeds on a summer squash. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut both of the ends of the yellow squash, and then I'm going to start trying to cut all the way around the squash. So I'm just going to go about 1/4 inch in and cut a slice, and I'm going to keep cutting slices until I find the seeds, which is right about there, and you'll be able to see them because it starts turning. Usually they look a little green. And I'm going to do that in all other 3 sides to get as much of this squash as I can. And then you'll end up with a square like so that is just all the seeds. And then we'll take this squash and then we'll cut it into fajitas or ribbons. That's what fajitas means. And know that they're going to get soft. This is the same way that you would cut a zucchini or a yellow squash to make it resemble noodles. So if you're ever trying to make zucchini spaghetti, this is exactly what you would do. Just cut it into ribbons like so. And it's okay that they're a little bit bigger because they're gonna become smaller here in a little bit. I think I have enough with this guys right here, so we're gonna add these to our vegetable bowl. And then we're gonna take a little bit of oregano. This is fresh oregano, is really strong. So if you don't like oregano too much, you can substitute it with cilantro, but don't use a lot of it because you'll end up not liking it. I'm just gonna go like that, about 1.5 tablespoons, and that should be plenty for us. Right there. And then I have a lime here, and I always like rolling my limes on the board so I can get the most juice out of them. And then I'll cut it in half. I will squeeze this lime onto our vegetables, and this is gonna be part of the marinade, right? So lime, oregano. We're gonna do salt, pepper, chili powder. I actually have powdered guajillo pepper. You don't have to have powdered guajillo pepper. You could either buy the peppers whole, or you can do any pepper, but regular chili powder works just as well. We're gonna sprinkle quite a bit of chili powder in there. And then salt. And I'm not gonna be shy with this salt. And then a little bit of oil. And this is just regular canola oil. Okay. Once we have all our veggies in there, we're gonna leave the tomato for the end because it's a soft vegetable and we want this to actually get a good sear. So we're gonna leave that aside and then we'll add it later once this is cooking. Okay, and then we're gonna mix them well, and preferably you wanna let this sit for 15 to 20 minutes so you can get some really good flavor in there, okay? All right, while we've been cutting the vegetables, I've had my pan on medium heat. So we're going to take this and put it in a fairly hot pan. So now that I have my vegetables ready, I can turn my heat back up to high as I'm going to introduce a lot of cold food into the pan. Okay, so, and then we'll put a little bit of oil on the pan, and you want to see the oil moving fairly fast. We don't necessarily need to see it smoking, but we want to see it that the oil is moving in the pan fairly fast. That's what's gonna let us know that the pan is ready for adding food. Okay. And then we're gonna take some of this mixture. It's important that you don't overwhelm the pan. If we throw all the mixture in there all at once, what will happen is that the pan will cool down, then we'll create a bunch of steam, and our vegetables won't be crisp. So we want them to be crisp and tender, almost the same way as we would do a stir fry. And so what we're looking for is just to coat the pan with vegetables without overwhelming it. You can definitely add chicken or beef or pork to this. I would just say cook the meat first in the pan until it's about halfway cooked, and then add the vegetables to it. Yeah, you want to hear that sizzling. That tells us that we have a good amount of heat in the pan. Once you put the vegetables in the pan, it's important that you let them be so you can get a nice sear and you don't start releasing water out of the vegetables. While the vegetables are cooking, I have them on high heat. I'm going to take my tomato and I'm going to cut a little bit. And you can cut this into wedges, squares, strips, however you like. I like cutting strips, so I'm just gonna cut slabs of tomato about between a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch, like so. And then I'm gonna take this, guys, and cut them into strips. And you should have pieces like so. Okay, and then we'll introduce the tomato into the pan once the vegetables are about halfway cooked. Okay. Also have some tortillas here and some queso. We're gonna start moving it a little bit, and you'll notice that the squash starts getting soft like noodles. We're gonna cook that for about 5 more minutes, and then we should be good to go. All right, so our vegetables are cooked about halfway, and we're gonna add our tomatoes to the pan. You can add more tomato if you wanted to. You can definitely replace them with tomatillos if you like to. And then just mix them. And all we're looking for in the tomatoes is for them to warm up, okay? Everything else should be fully cooked by now, okay? And we're just gonna taste them, make sure that we're good on seasoning. It's pretty good. A little bit more chili powder. And this chili powder, at least the guajillo one, it's not very hot. So if you don't like spicy, that's okay. I think the Veggie peppers bring enough to this dish that we don't need that that amount of heat. Okay. So right now, our fajitas are completed. We're gonna move that to the side, and then I'm going to preheat a pan, nice and dry, and I have some white corn tortillas here. We're gonna warm those up, and I have some queso fresco to top the fajitas, and this can just sit for a couple of minutes here while we warm up our tortillas. Okay. And warming up tortillas, I mean, some people do them in the microwave, some people rub them in a wet paper towel, pop them in the microwave. I like warming them up in the pan. And you don't really need the pan to be super hot, but you don't want it completely cold because it'll dry out. Okay. You can do flour tortillas if you like, but I feel like corn tortillas are best. I'm going to overlap them in this pan just a little bit, and then I'll keep moving them. And how I know if they're ready is I actually touch the tortilla on the top, and you'll feel that it'll start warming up, and then you should be able to flip them over. But this shouldn't be hot enough that you couldn't touch it. Like you should be able to, and I'm rotating the tortillas with my hand to kind of keep them nice and warm. Just make sure that you're not touching straight on the pan, because then you'll burn yourself. And then I'm gonna flip them over, and we're gonna flip them over a couple of times instead of just letting them be there until they're completely ready. We're gonna flip them over a couple of times, but the idea to keep rotating them is the best way. And you'll notice that the tortillas will become really pliable, and that's telling you that you're pretty much there. They'll change color a little bit, but you don't necessarily have to get color on them. You'll feel that they start getting puffy and light, and that's kind of what we're looking for. Okay. And we're just gonna rotate, and I think these guys are already done. Okay. And I see a little bit of steam coming off of them, which is also a good sign that they're ready. And you'll see that they're really, really flimsy. Okay, that tells you that their tortillas are ready to go. And to finish this dish, super easy. We'll take 3 tortillas here. We'll place them like so. And we'll take some of our vegetables here. And make sure that you're grabbing a little bit of each ingredient here. The carrots get kind of crunchy. The Veggie peppers are a little bit spicy. The squash brings a pretty good texture. And the onions are super sweet. So we'll go like so. And we'll set up the fajitas, and then we'll take a little bit of this queso fresco and crumble a little bit of that on top of each one of them. At this point, if you wanted to add your favorite salsa or some sour cream, that's up to you. I believe this queso fresco brings enough creaminess to the dish for them to be successful, just like this. Okay, and there we go. We have some squash, carrot, and pepper fajitas.